Aloha, hello. In my last video, I spoke a little bit about manifesting, and today I wanted to go a little bit deeper, most specifically into how we can block our manifestations or reasons why manifesting doesn't work. There's a lot, but for the sake of this video, I'm going to talk about samskara, which is the yogic word for impression, which basically means an energy pattern or a loop that gets stuck in your body. So first, let me back up and say that we have an energy body around us at all times. We have an electromagnetic field which is circling around us at all times. And to help with that, I have this visual aid today. These are your chakras, and that is an expression of the aura. We're not talking about the aura, but just a visual aid to see that you have energy around you at all times. And this is coming from Cindy Dale's book. I highly recommend it if you're interested in any of these things. It's a really great reference for chakras, nadis, meridians, magnetism, all kinds. Okay, so going back to your electromagnetic field. So your heart is generating a field around you, and this field has a charge, it has a pulse, it can be measured, it can be felt into. An energy worker can give you a session and feel into your field and see, or feel rather, where there might be an imbalance or a disruption of energy, where it's expanded on one side or the other, etc. The earth itself has an electromagnetic field, and in fact, all living organisms only exist within the electromagnetic field of the earth, which also has a pulse, also has a charge, also can be felt into. So science agrees with the yogis that we have a field around us. You can measure it, cannot see it, but you can feel it, and our fields are constantly engaging and interacting with other people's fields, and we're constantly picking up stuff within our field all of the time. So back to samskara and these energy patterns or loops. So you're going through life and you are energy, and you are perceiving other energy as you go. So your eyes perceive this energy as a wavelength, it comes into your brain and you process it and you have that experience. Okay, cool, you keep going. But sometimes you have a negative experience or a difficult experience, and rather than that energy just flowing through your body like it normally would, like, okay, you're walking down the street and you see a tree, whatever, if you process that, it's fine. It doesn't really stick out to you. But something negative that could happen or has happened goes into your body, and you, at times, don't have the ability to process it in its fullness. So that impression stays in your being. The yogis would say in your heart chakra, there's a samskara, an impression that stays in your heart chakra. So that samskara then kind of creates a block of energy. So your heart is opening and closing as you go. And when we're going to manifest, we want to be in a space of open-heartedness. We want to be in a space of happiness, joy, blissfulness, because in that space, in our open heart, we're not only available to receive the manifestation, but we have more energy, literally, in which to create and call in the thing. So when you're depressed, when you're sad, when your heart is closed, you are lacking in energy, and you don't have the same to pull from to create that which you're calling in. So if we really want to create manifestations and co-create with Source at all times, it's important to be aware of the energy patterns or loops which are within ourself, because that which we resist will persist. So the things that we're unwilling to sit with, unwilling to look at, and we just keep stuffing down, will keep persisting and presenting themselves into our experience until we're ready to sit with them and to deal with them. So a little personal here. Oh man, here we go. I had a samskara around heartbreak in particular. And I can attribute this because when I was 23 years old, my daddy passed away, like really suddenly, really fast. And my dad is soul family, kindred, one of the most important people to me in the whole entire world. And he passed away really quickly. And obviously that was a massive, huge, mega, immense heartbreak in my life, the biggest one. And at the same time, I was ending a 7-year relationship with a narcissist. I thought at the time I was going to marry this dude, and he essentially betrayed me and abandoned me in the most difficult part of my life. And at the same time, I was going through a really hard time with my mama. We're a lot better now, but at the time, I was processing heartbreak in 3 different ways, and it was just too much to process at the time. So that energy pattern, that samskara, became imprinted within my heart chakra, and my body literally reflected that, like the way my shoulders were, the way I was walking and talking, and just like shielding my heart. And a couple years later, I went through a yoga training, and then a year after that, I went through an energy healing training, and I was able to process a lot of that. But it wasn't until I was really willing to sit with some of that stuff, like for real, that I was able to transmute it more so. So that which we resist persists. Though for the last 9 years I've been on this path, since my daddy passed, I've been on this path and researching esoteric anatomy and learning like deeper ways to cope and process. That one particular pattern, because it was such a deep imprint, still was persisting in my experience. So I shared in my last video that I came to Kauai 7 months ago, and the first week that I arrived, I attracted someone into my experience who was here to trigger that pattern again and ask me to really look at that pattern in a deeper way this time and ask myself, like, for reals, am I willing to look at that stuff so that I can change that pattern of the type of people that I'm attracting? Because since my papa passed and since I ended the thing with the narc, I'd been attracting emotionally unavailable partners that were reiterating that. And in those times, I was still not really ready or willing to sit with the stuff, and so I would just be like, okay, red flag, not gonna go there, red flag, not gonna go there. But in this case, because Kauai is such a powerful vortex, she literally forced me to look at all that stuff, because things essentially exploded this summer and they got really, really crazy, and to the point where I would say it was the second most difficult point in my life, with the exception of when my daddy passed. Like, hectic and crazy, gnarly energy. And so I was literally forced to look at that and forced to ask myself, okay, Shel, why is it that you've attracted this particular experience and person into your life? Like, there's information here. And I'd say that it was to honestly look at the samskara, that last little piece, that impression, because that energy really wants to be processed and that energy wants to move. But it is our unwillingness to let it that keeps it there. So that which we are resisting continues to persist and continues to show up into our life. And you might be calling in your perfect and ideal partner, but until you're willing to sit with and look at those patterns within your being, which are literally imprinted not only in your energy body and in your chakras, but in your physical body, until you're willing to sit with those things, the patterns might just persist, and you can do all the yoga, and you can drink all the smoothies, and you can be spiritual, but it's actually spiritual bypassing to not go within your body, to not acknowledge the patterns that are showing up for you. It's all just information, and I feel that our society is really keen to have us continue to be productive members of the society and just stuff the stuff down, because, you know, they want us to work 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, and then society's like, okay, go out on the weekends and go to happy hour, or, you know, distract yourself with this or that or the other thing. Distractions are prevalent today, and it's way easier to just eat the chips and grab that 6-pack and get really high and forget about the world for a weekend, because trust me, I've done that too. But you know what? The stuff will continue to be there until you're down to be like, okay, stuff, I'm gonna sit with you and I'm gonna feel this. And like, shoots, I might feel like I'm gonna die, but it will pass and you'll get through it. So I talk about this all the time in my yoga class. People will be coming out of camel posture, and it's the deepest back bend, deepest heart opener. And it's normal to feel sick, nauseous, dizzy, uncomfortable, like you're gonna die, like you want to puke. And that's because in that posture, you're opening up the heart chakra, and so stuff is coming out. You're inevitably processing. So there's all kinds of tools that we can use to process, such as yoga, such as sound healing, such as therapy, such as somatic therapy, such as energy work, working with a therapist. There's all kinds of resources available to us to assist us in the process of processing. But the first step is our willingness to find awareness that there is a pattern there, being mindful and observant of the pattern, and being willing to show up and feel the feelings. Feeling the feelings. It's the way to freedom, though sometimes it's like super scary and you're like, oh, I don't know if I like this. Gotta go for it, because in that, you're allowing that stuff to come up, and then it goes out, and then it goes away. And then you don't have to spend the rest of your life in that same pattern. So it's really liberating. So this is a very fast, impromptu explanation of some pretty deep concepts, such as samskara, that is yogic text. If you want to Google it, it's samskara. And it just means an impression, an energetic impression, which has been stored in your heart. And the reason why we want to know about that which has been stored is because that is stuff that is blocking the heart, and that is stuff that is blocking energy. And when we don't have that energy to use, we're not able to manifest as strongly. So we want to stay in a space of openness, in a space of receptivity, in a space of joy, in order to manifest that which we really, really want to create. So it's important to look at the stuff that's kind of maybe holding us back. And then it's not the end of the world that it's there, because we all have stuff. We all have stories. We've all had life experiences. We've all had sad things happen. It's just a matter of using that information and then transmuting it. That's the path to empowerment. So I know and understand it can be a little intimidating. I've been there. I feel you. Reach out for help. And if you have any questions on how to find someone or what kind of person to work with, I'm always happy to answer any questions or be a resource. You can just send me a text or a DM or a comment in the comments, and we can look at where you are in the world and look at what type of resources are available for you there, and get started, get that energy moving, because it's scary to start, but then it gets a lot easier, and then you can avoid repeating the same things over and over and over and over again until spirit be like, boom, guess what? You gonna deal with this. So I got number 1 and I got number 2 of spirit being like, boom, guess what? You're gonna deal with this. And I was like, okay, Mercy, I'm gonna deal with this. So here we are. And I think that's why I'm sharing these videos that sometimes I feel a little bit silly sharing, because it's important, and you don't have to learn the hard way. You can just start now and avoid further discomfort later. Besides, we're going into 2020, yo. You don't want to go into 2020 with all this stuff. Let's start anew. Let's begin now, so that 2020 can start on a fresh plate, and some of the stuff that's been in that heart chakra for a minute can just be cleared, and you can go in with an open heart, in a powerful space, like calling in all of the good stuff in your new year with your new year resolutions. So that is my hope, and that is my prayer, and let us begin there.